Before I start, let me just say how amazing this champion Laurel looks. This is the greatest she might have ever basically gotten. The champion Laurel shows you the reason why it's basically the top dog, and I love the hell out this thing. I spend my blood, sweat, and tears to basically get it. And it's truly amazing. I'm the only person on the server to freaking have it. And I feel proud of me. I feel proud of myself to freaking have it. So anyways, today, I'm going to be going over every single Reaper buffs that basically happened from last patch to this patch. I'm going to go over the whole damn thing. So anyways, right, not too long ago, this doesn't really consider as a buff, but freaking every single class basically got to true damage instead of additional damage. If I'm saying this correctly, additional damage is like if you have 10% damage, you slice that crap in half and you only get 5% damage. So altogether in total, I have increased damage by 124%, 53% normal damage, 42% when attacking enraged monsters, and 28% from attacking from behind, so that's 124%. But to make it evenly, let's say I have increased damage by 120%. Because the damage wasn't true, I was getting increased damage by 60%. And so when I was in training grounds, I was doing 74 mil per second. And then when they made it true damage, I went from 74 mil per second to 185 mil per second. And let me just know, this isn't a Reaper buff or anything. This happened to freaking all classes. Like nothing, like bro, nothing didn't change. Nothing didn't change. I legit have every single thing I have. And I was just hitting 74 mil per second. You know, I had a +9 weapon. I had a +15 bracelet. +8 stones. And I was just hitting whatchamacallit. But since they made it like true damage, every single time when I swing my Grim Strike, it does 150 mil. Every single Grim Strike you see, it does 150 mil, which makes it absolutely a beast. When I do my Shooting Strike, this crap does about 200 mil to 400 mil. Every single time when I do a Shooting Strike, it can smack up to 300 mil, 400 mil. It's absolutely crazy. It's nuts and freaking bar. Like, whoop, 400 mil right here. Dark Binding is now a freaking beast. They didn't give no buffs to Dark Binding, but let's just say the true damage, I can smack like 300 mil. I can smack 300 mil with true damage and with Dark Binding, and it just happens so quick. But yeah, it's just like all the true damage, it really did made us kind of very strong, but it wasn't even like an actual buff though, which I'm about to get to right now. So we're gonna start off with freaking assassination. I was actually kind of disappointed, but in the first patch, they basically gave us assassination. This will change from assassination to Dark Leaf skill, and you can no longer provide invisible effect, meaning that Dark Leaf does absolutely nothing. When you jump invisible, you just don't get you don't get the invisible effect anymore, and that's literally it. Like, this was the most pointless thing they freaking had. Pointless until the freaking next patch. And the next patch, they made it to where Dark Leap gives you, nah, screw this. Assassination gives you 8 seconds. So instead of having an 8 seconds, I mean a 6-second assassination, it's now 8 seconds. Meaning that if I hit something, it now takes 8 seconds before it goes away. And this is actually kind of, I would say this is actually kind of massive. What I'm actually trying to say is, you don't have to jump invisible. You don't have to jump invisible freakily. You don't have to jump invisible freakily. You can hold some of your MP, but on top of that, and on also, you could do longer combos. You could do longer combos while jumping invisible less often. But here's the insane part, right? Since our assassination is now 8 seconds, you no longer need a whole bunch of souls, meaning that you could oops, hold on, wait. I need to put on my other pet. Let me just say, in order to basically do this, you need to you need to actually have about 42% decreased cooldown. So this means, right, my visible is now gonna be 7 seconds. So I could keep the visible up every 7 seconds. But since I don't really have no souls on it at all, only one, I could gain increased damage by 14%. Yes, that's right. If you could basically god roll a superior attack, you could get 40% additional damage. Like here's for example, 7%, 14%, 21%, 28%, 35, 42. The thing is though, I don't have 2 extra superior attacks, but then I got a basic god roll it with 7% each. And that's then on top of that I gotta get it to +5, which is absolutely gonna be freaking annoying. But this 8%, it can like that additional 14% you can basically give, it will make every single thing you do hit 14% much harder. But then there comes to a risk. I will be pushing back my burst, which is gonna be a 70-second shadow reap. My grim strike is gonna be like a longer cooldown. Or you can't really freaking tell. No, that's because I used shadow reap. Everything will be a lot slower. But even though everything is gonna be a lot slower, you will be hitting 40% much often. Or here's something else, right? Check this out. Or instead of basically freaking doing this, I could go onto my weapon. I could go onto my weapon and like remove the cooldown on it to replace it with 9.3 attacking in range monsters. And my invisible will still be 7 seconds, but it's still for the best to do the superior attacks, because that's 14% compared to like a 9%. But I'm just basically saying I'm gonna give them basically a huge W for making our assassination 8 seconds, but it's like I don't really feel like making the damn build at all. I don't feel like making the build. 2 superior attacks gonna take way too long. Maybe sometime in the future when I basically feel like it. So anyways, let's go over. Next up, I'm going to be talking about Power Link Shirt and Strike. Power Link Shirt and Strike, pretty much. What it means is that like you have to power link Grim Strike before you use a freaking Shirt and Strike. This went up from 5% to 25%, meaning that your Shirt and Strike is going to be hitting 25% much harder. It went from 5% to a 25%. So if you don't know how to power link freaking Shirt and Strike, let me try my hardest to complain. As you can see, you have this green bar on top. It shows like every single time you use a Grim Strike, this is your power linking Shirt and Strike. As you can see, that 2 bar, you're pretty much, it's really hard to show it, but every single time when you do it, it goes up by like 10%. So what you have to do is you have to do Grim Strike twice, and then you have to release a Shirt and Strike. You have to release a Shirt and Strike when you do Grim Strike twice like this, and it's gonna make it to where it hits really hard. This is what it means like power link Shirt and Strike, but you gotta do it off of Grim Strike. Let me say it one more time. You have to use Grim Strike twice to power link Shirt Strike, and then you throw a fat giant Shirt Strike, and that's what it means by power linking Shirt Strike off of Grim Strike. And then on top of that, And then in the next patch, and then in the next patch, not only that you could basically power link Certain Strike, which basically gave it like 5% to 25% damage. Then they basically gave it to where um they not really Pacific here, but Certain Strike basically gained increased damage by 20%. It just basically gained a whole 20% by itself. And this means I can easily smack 400 mil when the boss is at super low HP and we doing actual dungeons. I can smack 300 mil easily, 400 mil easy when the boss is at super low HP. So 50% when it comes to basic power linking the damn thing, and 20% with just basically the skill by itself. Now pretty much, then here's come the other useless stuff. The only greatest thing they have ever did was basically made assassination longer and Certain Strike more powerful. Anything else is kind of like dookie. Death Spiral had basically gained 25% damage. It went from 20% damage to 25%, meaning that you only gain an extra 5%. So every single time when you do Death Spiral, anything you do is like an extra 5%, which is basically kind of useless. Then pretty much last but not least, they made it to where freaking Shadow Burst. They made it to where Shadow Burst gives you the first attack is 50% and the second attack is 100%. So Shadow Burst is like, it's not really all that powerful. Basically, you gain 150% to the freaking skill. But let me just say, every single Grim Strike you do, it does 100 mil. My bad, my cooldown so ass, I forgot. It does 100 mil. As you can see, the first hit of a Grim Strike does 33 mil, and the second hit of the Grim Strike does 114 mil, meaning that I could do 150 mil each for every single Grim Strike. Certain Strike does 400 mil, and then Dark Bonding does like over 300 mil, so there's kind of no point in doing Shadow Burst. So what you supposed to do with basic Shadow Burst is pretty much, it's like, first you gotta put every single thing into cable step. Increase skill damage of Shadow Burst by 20%. So when you use cable step, you get 20% of Shadow Burst for like a few seconds. Then you gotta put every single thing on freaking cable step. This basically gives speed casting of Shadow Burst by 50% for 2.5 seconds, which is gonna happen really fast. Then you gotta get rid of some of your glyphs, and then you gotta put it on Shadow Burst and Shadow Burst skill in general. Some of the skills, speed casting by 25% and decrease cooldown of whatchamacallit. Alright, let me show you my Dark Binding, by the way. And let me just say, every single time when I do Dark Binding, 22 mil, like you could do like 21 hits in Dark Binding. 22 mil, 22 mil, 22 mil, 22 mil, 22 mil, 22 mil, 21 mil, 21 mil, 20 mil, 20 mil, 20 mil, 20 mil, 16 mil, 16 mil, 15 mil, 15 mil, 15 mil, 14 mil. Dark Bond is absolutely insane. You could destroy the HP bar, bro. That's absolutely insane. Alright, so anyways, right, you gotta jump invisible and use cable step, and then use whatchamacallit. As you can see, my Shadow Burst did 122 mil, and let's see, the first hit did like 81 mil, and the second hit did 122 mil, meaning that I did 200 mil. I did 200 mil. This time I did 131 mil with 90 mil, meaning that was like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. I did 220 mil But here's the thing though. Why should I focus on using when every single thing I do is like it's like 100 mil, you know, like my shirt, my grip strike does 100 mil each, shirt strike does 400 mil, dart bonding does 300 mil, maybe 400 mil with every single tick. Even though they made Shadow Burst hit like 200 mil, like I just legit hit 220 mil. There's still no point of doing this every 10 seconds, knowing that my Grim Strike can easily out DPSs. Throw 2 Grim Strikes, you out DPS Shadow Burst. Do a single Dart Bonding that can out DPS Shadow Burst. I would say Shadow Strike can easily out DPS if the boss is at fully low HP. If you want to use Shadow Burst, you can if you want to, but it's not like intentional. It's not like actually the greatest. Every single skills you have is basically better. So anyways, that's been all the Reaper buffs that I basically wanted to go after. Let me just say, in order to feel very powerful, you would need to get your hands on increased damage by over 100% to feel like you can do some actual damage. But it's been your boy Riddle here. Peace out, my boys, and enjoy your day.